Okay, let's try to do a quick review of what we've got done today on superloser.io, working on an important component of the authorization, which is email verification. There's a lot of ways you can do it. What I wanted to do is send a link in an email or a code or both, and allow you to come back to a form and click the link and authenticate, or put the code in, authenticate, and it would validate your email. And so what I've got this form here, and if I pass in, this, let's say we create a URL that looks something like this. Let me go up here and just stick this in here. So we've got this URL where we're passing in these values. You can see we could email that to the user. They click the link, or they just click a link to come directly to the form, put their email in, and type the code in manually. So that'll work also. And if they want, they could click send me a new code, and it would send a new code. That does work. I'll show you that on the back end in a minute. We hit cancel, which goes into the main login, and then we have submit. So if I click submit, this won't work because that code's actually not any good, but you get the idea. And so if that's submitted, it would verify the email and log the person in and all that. We've added, let's go to our SaaS auth config here. This is not the real config. And we've added this, probably going to rename that. I'm going to get rid of SaaS auth on the verification stuff because it's already in a SaaS auth config package. So we're going to get rid of that. But SaaS auth max email verification requests, so 100. We allow up to 100 verification requests within a 10-minute window. And if it exceeds that, it starts to throw errors. That's just to keep people from trying to programmatically take guesses at things. And I'll show you how that's implemented here in a second. And then we have the email verify minute. So if we set this to null, it just disables any verifications altogether. You will not get sent out an email verification. If we set to 0, it disables any time limits. Otherwise, here it's good for 60 minutes. So let's go look at the form here. Okay. So here's the form. We have a few fields. We have SaaS auth token, which is what comes in on the up here as the parameter. This gets populated from this string right here, SaaS auth token, and that's hidden. And then this is SaaS auth token manual, which if this gets populated, it gets copied to here, and the email address, of course, gets populated from the URL. There's my buttons. So the send button is a dynamic action, and it's going to execute the send email verify code, passing in the email. Let's look at this. We've got a submit page on process. This is our verify the email address using token, and this is where we're passing in the email and the token. And then if all is successful, we branch back to the main page for the app. I think that's we got set auth token string. So this is our set value. So if I think we got a condition down here, set the token from the query string if present. Where is, come down here? Yeah. So it's a static assignment. We're just taking that value there using the ampersand dot notation, and the item is our we're populating a SaaS auth token manual. And only if this is not null. So that was pretty cool, pretty easy. And that all works. Let's go look at the back end, look at the code that's calling. So in the SaaS auth package, we have send email verify code, and walk you through this. We're going to generate a temp token. Well, actually, we don't generate the temp token there. We could. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and just generate the temp token right there. And we'll get rid of that. So it's all set. So we get our temp token, and app name, and our from address, that needs to be, that's the address that's valid in Oracle to send email from, and that is set up in my ArcSQL CFG. I had to go with CFG because I have a table named arcconfig. I don't like the fact that I can't name a package and a table the same, but I understand. I mean, Oracle would have to figure out which one you're referring to, and that might not work. But I hate putting PKG in packages and things like that. I did do that with SAS auth PKG because there is a table named SAS auth. Our verify minutes we're getting from this. Again, we can default that up here just to make it. Does that make it clear? I don't know if it makes it clear. It makes it less verbose, right? Because we're getting rid of a line. So if the verify minutes is null, we just return. I haven't figured out where I'm calling that from yet. I'll get to that. That's a to-do. Then we update the SAS auth table with our token, our expiration time. So we do a little figuring out there what that's going to be. And then now if for some reason we didn't actually update a row, well, if we updated a row, and we're going to send the email because we know the row exists. And if not, we're going to quietly log an error. So we don't want to raise an error here and let the user know that that email actually doesn't exist, because then it enables malicious users to kind of query your system and determine if so-and-so has an account with you or not. And it may be that you don't want people to know that. So we're going to log errors like that, but we're not going to raise errors for that. And this is all going to be improved, but that sends the email, assuming you've got email working, and that's it, and they can send that. So let's see, what else do we got? Verify email using token. Am I even calling this? I'm not sure. Oh yes. So once we click the submit button, we call verify email using token. We pass in the username and the auth token. This is where we're doing some limiting on the request. So we're using an ArcSQL call to count the requests, and then we can do a get request count. The way this works is a background job processes those counts so that you can call it really frequently, and it's not going to, anyway, I might change that. I ignore that. But anyway, it gets the number of request counts in the last 10 minutes, and if it's equal, if it's greater than 100, we're going to raise an application error, too many email verification requests. We're just doing a little bit to limit rate requests, certain calls, because they could be called maliciously. So then we just call Apex Authentication, and what we've done is we use custom auth down here. So that is going to end up calling our custom auth, and what we do here is is the password an email verification code, so that it calls this code right here and checks the table to see if we have a match for that token, if it's legit, if it's still legit, and if it aligns with the actual user account. Is password, p-password, am I doing? Oh, yeah, verify email token there. So, yeah, we're looking at all that. If that comes, we return n equals 1, so it returns true if n is 1. And then we just do an update on our SAS auth table, clear things out, and then we fire on login, and we return true, which gets the user logged in. This basically just calls a procedure on login if it exists, and it allows you to hook. The on-login procedure allows you to hook the on-login event into your app from the authorization service. And this is the traditional code just to check regular password if that hasn't happened. So that's it. That's pretty much it. It was a lot of work. Still got a lot of refactoring and cleaning up to do. But important to be able to verify email and to do it in different ways. And to have that option, very easy to set up and get configured. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching.